Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a lot to share with you this week about training, what's coming up next for me, a little bit of nutrition as well, and some race reflection from Canyon's 50K. So let's dive in. If you saw my last YouTube video, you know that I had to pull out of Gorge Waterfalls 100K due to getting sick, which was super unfortunate, but it was definitely the right call. So with a little bit of brainstorming with my team, my husband and my coach Anne, I found another race to do instead, just to use up all that fitness that I had been building, and also I really did want to collect the running stones that I had lost by not doing Gorge Waterfalls. So I went and did Canyon's 50K. The 100K was already full when I went to register for it, which I think was best just because, I had been sick, and though I still had all that training, I wasn't quite feeling as strong. So doing twice the distance may have been a little bit more challenging. But that said, by picking the 50K, I had decided to really push it and see what I was capable of in the 50K distance. And I did end up getting a PR. The conditions of the trail were amazing. It did rain the whole day, which was a little bit unfortunate, but I did really well, and I followed my nutrition and hydration plan just as we had, laid out, which is actually sometimes really hard for me. It's easy on paper, and then you get out there and it can be a little bit more challenging. So I was really happy with being able to follow that plan and how the day went for me. So after we got back, I've just been kind of recovering ever since, and I didn't really need a lot of recovery, but we did scale down the running a little bit for the week. So let's talk about what is coming next. I have 2 big races left on the calendar for 2025, both of which are 100-mile races, and ultimately in a 12-month period, I will have run 300 miles. So really staying healthy, injury-free is super important to me. And to do that, we're just following a really smart training plan and not pushing when we're not supposed to. And then, pushing when it's appropriate. So my first race is in August, and that is Oregon Cascades 100-miler. The challenges with that race could be that it's going to be hotter. My last 100-miler was in November, and the weather could not have been more perfect. So doing the 100-miler in the end of August, it could be potentially hot. I'm actually also in the back of my mind aware that something could happen to this race. It is during fire season up here in Central Oregon. So, it could get canceled or rerouted. There could be smoke in the air, all those sorts of things. I would like to believe that's not going to happen, but being realistic, it's just kind of on my radar. Also, it is a net downhill race, which means there's a little bit more downhill than uphill, which can be really hard on the legs, especially being that all that downhill is in the second half of the race. Oregon Cascades is kind of a dress rehearsal for the big race, which is Kodiak 100-miler in October. And that race is the big race because it will give me double the running stones for UTMB. It's also the challenge of that race is that I'm going to be running at a higher elevation. So between 6,000 and 8,000 feet the entire time of the race. Watching some videos on it recently, it does look like it could be pretty hot as well. So just things to think about. In the nighttime, it could turn really cold since you are up at higher elevations, so that we could have a big swing there. So yeah, we're starting this next training block with some tempo workouts, and then we'll head into just increasing my volume so that I'm running about 14 to 15 hours per week. So since it's Sunday, one of the things I do is just go and kind of look at my upcoming training for the week. So I use Training Peaks for my clients, and then Anne, my coach, also uses Training Peaks. I've used Training Peaks pretty much since 2017, maybe 16, when I was doing triathlon. That was my first coach who ever used it. And then my cycling coach after I was doing triathlon also used it. And so I've just like stuck to it. But so we're starting a tempo block. So tomorrow I have a 3 by 10 minute interval tempo run. Tuesday, an hour recovery run with some lifting in the afternoon. On Wednesday, I have a 2-hour endurance run. Thursday, recovery run and another lift session. Friday is a rest day. And then Saturday, I would generally do my long run, but I'm doing it on Sunday because my daughter has a track meet. So I'll do my recovery run, and then I have an optional strength session. And then Sunday, I will do a 4-hour 4-hour endurance run. So we have about 10 and a half hours of running. We're moving the hours back up. This last week, I got 7.5 hours of running. It was a recovery week from doing canyons the week before. So yeah, big week ahead. And it's just going to build from 10 and a half hours to up to about 14 hours. The next training block is where things really start to ramp up. We're going to be gradually increasing volume, but we're going to be throwing 1 to 2 tempo runs into each week. And a tempo run for ultra runners can seem a little counterintuitive because you're never going to run those paces when you're doing a 100-mile race, but that's not really the purpose of them. They are going to make you faster and just more efficient out on the trail. Tempo intervals are run just below your lactate threshold. Scientifically, they help increase size and function of mitochondria in your muscle fibers, basically making you better at using lactate as fuel, which improves endurance. Tempo blocks aren't flashy interval sessions. They're not near as fast as like running intervals are, but they help build strength, efficiency, and confidence, which is key in becoming race ready. So that's my update for now. Next episode, we're going to talk about nutrition, what's working for me, how I'm fueling for long runs. This was an episode that was requested, so if you have any more questions on the nutrition topic, you should leave them in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.